Humans are not natural swimmers. Unlike many animals, we are not born knowing how to do it. In fact, water can easily kill us. And yet, deep in our past, ancient humans waded into rivers, lakes, and seas and taught themselves to swim. So why would fragile humans risk the danger of deep water at all? The answer is a story of survival, food, and courage. Let's be honest about the risk. For an early human, deep water was one of the most dangerous places to be. We have no fur to trap warmth, no webbed feet, and no instinct that lets babies swim the way some animals can. Cold water saps body heat fast, currents can sweep a person away, and done mistake means drowning. To an ancient human, a deep river or a stretch of sea was a real threat to life. So learning to swim was not a casual hobby. It meant deliberately facing a deadly environment, which makes the question even more interesting. What could possibly be worth that risk? The biggest reason was simple and powerful. Food. Rivers, lakes, and coastlines were packed with food that the land could not provide. Fish, shellfish, crabs, eggs, and water plants offered a rich, reliable source of nutrition. For ancient humans, being able to enter the water meant unlocking an entire new pantry of meals. Wading, diving, and swimming let them reach food that those who feared the water could never touch. The evidence for this ancient seafood diet is powerful. At a site called Pinnacle Point in South Africa, archaeologists found that humans were gathering and eating shellfish as far back as around 160,000 years ago. They left behind piles of discarded shells, a clear record of generations harvesting the sea. Some scientists even argue that this rich, brain-nourishing seafood may have helped fuel the growth of the human brain. Getting into the water, it seems, may have helped make us smarter. These piles of discarded shells, called shell middens, are found at ancient coastal sites all around the world, some of them enormous, built up over thousands of years. They are a clear sign that Thesa and shore were a vital part of human life for a very long time. To harvest much of that food, you had to be willing and able to get into the water, to wade out, to dive down, to brave the waves. The coast was a feast, but only for those who could swim. Because seafood was so valuable, some coastal cultures developed astonishing diving skills. Around the world, communities of divers learned to plunge deep underwater on a single-breath to gather shellfish, pearls, and sponges. In some places, this tradition continues even today, with skilled divers, often women, freediving much as their ancestors did for countless generations. It shows just how far humans were willing to push into the water in search of its riches. Water was not only a source of food, it was also a barrier, and swimming was the key to crossing it. Rivers, lakes, and channels blocked the way across the land. An ancient human who could swim could cross a river to reach new hunting grounds, escape a threat, or follow migrating animals. Those who could not swim were trapped on one side, cut off from whatever lay beyond. The ability to cross water opened up the world. This skill let humans explore, migrate, and spread into new territories. A group that could ford rivers and paddle across lakes had far more freedom to move and survive than one stuck behind every stretch of water. Swimming turned barriers into highways. The boldest example of all is how humans reached places like Australia, at least 65,000 years ago. Getting there required crossing open sea, something impossible without confidence in the water, and the ability to build and handle simple watercraft. Comfort in the water was a key that unlocked entire continents. People who feared the water stayed put, while those who embraced it spread across the world. We should not pretend it was safe, though. Drowning was surely a real and common cause of death for ancient humans, especially the young and the careless. Every river crossing and every dive carried risk. This is exactly why the skill was taken so seriously and taught so carefully. Respect for the water, knowing both its gifts and its dangers, was part of the hard-won wisdom passed down through the generations. Swimming was also a powerful tool for survival in a dangerous world. Water could be an escape route. A human fleeing a predator or a hostile group could plunge into a river and cross to safety, leaving a pursuer behind on the bank. Many land predators are reluctant or unable to follow prey into deep water. By swimming, an ancient human could slip away from a threat that would otherwise catch them on land. The very danger of water became an advantage. Water was also one of the great highways of the ancient world. Long before roads, rivers, lakes, and coastlines were the easiest way to travel and move goods. Being comfortable in the water and learning to build rafts and boats let humans use these natural highways to explore and trade. The same confidence in the water that let a person swim across a river also led, in time, to the building of the first boats. Swimming was the first step in humanity's long relationship with water travel. We even have ancient art showing humans in the water. Deep in the Sahara Desert, in a place now called the Cave of Swimmers, there are rock paintings thousands of years old that appear to show people swimming. This is astonishing, because the Sahara is now one of the driest places on Earth. But thousands of years ago, it was green, full of lakes and rivers, and the people who lived there clearly swam. The paintings are a window into a lost watery world and proof that swimming was aerial, and valued part of ancient life. The ancient Egyptians, living along the great river Nile, clearly valued swimming. They even had a special written symbol, a hieroglyph, showing a person swimming. To people whose whole world centered on a river, being able to swim was an everyday and important skill, woven into their language and their lives. The Nile gave them water, food, and transport, and swimming was part of belonging to that watery world. Even though we are not natural swimmers, the human body is surprisingly well suited to learning, and our greatest gift made it possible: our adaptable minds. Unlike most animals, humans do naturally only on instinct. We learn, we practice, and we teach. Swimming is a perfect example. A child watches others, practices in shallow water, and slowly builds the skill. Once one person learned, they could teach the whole group, and the knowledge passed down through generations. Our upright bodies also help. Standing tall let early humans wade into deeper water than four-legged animals could, keeping their heads above the surface. Step by step, from wading top-paddling to true swimming, humans used to teach to conquer an environment their bodies were not born for. Learning to swim was something taught from childhood in water-rich communities. In groups that lived by rivers, lakes, or the sea, children would learn early, playing and practicing in the shallows under watchful eyes until they grew confident. Swimming was passed down like any other survival skill, from parent to child, generation after generation. For these people, being unable to swim would have been as dangerous as being unable to walk through the forest, and we should not forget the simple joy of it. Anyone who has plunged into cool water on a hot day knows the pleasure swimming brings. For ancient humans living outdoors in warm climates, a swim was surely a delight as well as a necessity, a way to cool off, to play, and to feel free. Survival and joy often went hand in hand at the water's edge. In the end, learning to swim was part of a much bigger relationship between humans and water that shaped our entire history. Ancient humans settled near rivers, lakes, and coasts because water gave them everything: drinking water, food, transport, and trade routes. Being comfortable in and around water was essential to that way of life. Swimming, fishing, and eventually building boats all grew from this deep connection to the water's edge. There is even a faint clue to how deep this relationship goes, written into our own bodies. Newborn babies show a reflex where they hold their breath and move their limbs when placed in water. Will we still must learn true swimming? This hints at a long and ancient connection between humans and the water, a connection our ancestors leaned into when they first waded out beyond the shallows. Ancient humans learned to swim not for fun, but because the water held something worth the danger: rich food, new lands to reach, and an escape from death. By using our greatest tools, a body that could adapt and a mind that could learn and teach, humans conquered an environment we were never born for. The next time you glide through the water, remember that this skill was won by ancestors brave enough to face the deep, because what waited there was worth their